Hi, folks. This is Colin Richards, president and founder of Lord & Richards, and I'm thrilled to be with you again today, talking about methods and strategies that we use every single day with our clients to help you achieve financial independence. And on this particular episode, we're going to be diving into a biblical principle that is one of the founding principles at Lord & Richards. It's pretty wonderful when we get to take an episode talking about that. We have 5 founding principles that begin with honoring God. And the one we're going to be talking about today is found in Proverbs 13, verse 11. Here it is. Wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it. Here it is one more time. Proverbs 13:11. Wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it. Such a simple little saying, and one that we could easily pass over in our Bible reading. But both as individuals and as advisors, we want to make sure we pause and reflect on verses like this that come from the wisest man that ever lived, Solomon. And in the first place, what we learn in this principle, in this verse, is in other translations, we see this word described as wealth gathered with vanity, not just gained hastily, but with vanity. So money that comes from empty pursuits. You ever see anybody pursuing money and they're doing it as an empty pursuit? You say, well, what do you mean, Colin? Well, how about things like gambling, right? Isn't that a profitless, worthless pursuit? Both the people who run those industries as well as the people who partake of those are literally trying to create something out of nothing more than entertainment. Or worse, what about those who pursue money through illegal means, who skirt the law in an attempt to get wealthy? Or other money-making ventures where no real value is ever delivered. We'll talk about a couple of those. The contrast here is between vain pursuits or wealth gained hastily versus gathering by labor. Here in our verse, it says gathering little by little, but some translations say gathering by labor. Here it is in a nutshell: learning to work an honest day's work for an honest day's wage, right? We've been taught that from our youth. Learned how to work an honest day's work for an honest day's wage. That's the foundation of true wealth. But in our translation today, it says getting wealth hastily will cause it to diminish, will cause it to dwindle. What does that mean? Well, in our modern vernacular, we'd say get rich quick schemes, right? Again, how many times did our parents warn us to stay away from this mentality? You know, nothing good in life comes easy. Get rich quick schemes ultimately don't pay. You might get something out of it in the short run. Things like Ponzi schemes, literally illegal ways of taking one person's money and using it to pay the next person in line and so forth without any real generation of interest or value. Pyramid schemes where really all that is created is using the dollars that others are producing at the bottom of the pyramid to enrich those at the top. All these are traps to lure you in, and some of them are cloaked in legitimate businesses. But even in the world of legitimate, regulated businesses and investments, people can get lured in by the promise of quick wealth. Don't let this happen to you. I want to talk about Bitcoin and Ethereum and other versions of Bitcoin that have come out, cryptocurrency, over the years. People ask me all the time, well, should I be putting a portion of my portfolio there? And I tell them absolutely not. Okay, until someone can show me that it's an actual currency that can be used across all platforms. Right now, it's something that's literally generated out of nothing, out of code. Okay, there's nothing behind it. It's not a legitimate currency. Now, some people may want to speculate in that. I really don't think it has much value. And in the future, it may generate a lot of wealth for people. But as we've seen recently, it can also destroy wealth. It can be a source of luring people in. And unfortunately, the people who can least afford it are often those who come late to the game and are left holding the bag when the party's over. And the party right now is over. Party is over. How about trying to time the market? Someone has wisely said it's not timing the market, but time in the market that matters. Not timing the market, but time in the market. You see, if you try to time the market to get out, say, before a drop, you've got to also be right a second time to get back in to benefit. And unfortunately, what history has shown over and over again is most market timers are great at getting out right when the market recovers and starts to go up, and they're great at getting in on the wave of enthusiasm right as the market is getting ready to tip over and tank back down. It happens all the time. And even people who consider themselves savvy investors have come in and admitted to me, you know what, Colin, I don't think I'm as savvy as I thought I was. I think I need some help. How about those who make money off of technical instead of aiding a real industry or a business by learning about that business and buying into that business, investing in great companies? You can do it in batches. You can hire other people to do the research for you. A lot of times we're so consumed with never paying a fee for anything that we really are left having not done the homework that others might have been able to do on our behalf. So all these are ways that you can be lured in, whether legitimate regulated businesses and investments or illegitimate, ways that you can be lured into trying to get rich quick, gain wealth hastily. By contrast, Solomon is commending those who gather little by little. You say, oh, well, I don't have the patience for that. Well, patience, as they say, is a virtue. This implies hard work, time, and effort. As I said, time in the market, not timing the market. Making money off of those kinds of strategies that are, hockey stick growth, all these kinds of things are the opposite of putting hard work, time, and effort into your investment decisions. It implies seeking out resources and wisdom from others to gather information rather than hoping to merely stumble across a good luck, a good fortune scheme. An additional principle, though, that I want to add to this is that we're all stewards of the money that God has entrusted to us. If you're a believer, you live for the kingdom. That means that everything you have belongs to God, whether you acknowledge it or not. We're happy when we give what we have over to God, and we're the opposite. We experience anxiety, depression, discouragement. Sometimes the answer to a lot of the depression that is in society doesn't come through medication primarily, but through getting rightly aligned with God's word and his principles. And so we should avoid, as a steward of what God has entrusted us, putting it in places that don't make sense, that don't have value. Additionally, we should avoid taking unnecessary risk with the Lord's money, right? I spoke to someone recently who was about to invest a massive portion of their personal savings into a single investment with somebody that they knew and that they trusted. Folks, that's just not wise, because even folks you know and trust can be wrong. And is it worth risking money you can't afford to lose? If you're independently a billionaire and you've got dollars you want to cast to the wind in order to really help somebody out in their new business adventure, that's fine. Think of it as a gift, okay? But try to think of yourself as a fiduciary for God. And if you're a fiduciary, like we are here at Lord & Richards, and like many others are who work on behalf of an organization, such as attorneys and so forth, trust companies, you're required to act in the best interest of that individual. In our case, as a believer, you're a fiduciary for God. Act in God's best interest when you're making those investment decisions, not just yours. And learn principles of risk management, or borrow the brains of others who are doing it every single day, so you can earn an honest return without unnecessarily wasting money. You say, well, Colin, I could probably borrow some brains. And that's what we do all the time at Lord & Richards. We'll sit down with you and have just a complimentary visit to talk about your goals, your dreams, your desires, your concerns in investing, and help you develop a plan for financial independence so you can retire without fear and without worry. It really just starts with a simple conversation.